on Zoom, I know you can hear me, and so you can pipe up at any time. Feel free to unmute, participate, whatever you need to do. We'll go with, if I can get it to work. Our normal needs, wants, buyers, sellers, listings coming up. If your buyers need something, anything you need from other agents, feel free to raise your hand and let's go. Nobody's got business.
So,
Adeline.
I need business. No, I have a house that is for sale. It's super cool. And you guys should have somebody to buy it. And that's all I can say because it's horrible. No, I mean, no, not really.
Where
So
is
it's in Payson.
It needs some love.
It needs some love. Yeah, it's in Payson.
Price?
It's right now we're at 440, dreaming, and but think that I will get them to reduce the price. And they are really motivated to sell it, so that's why I'm thinking that I'm gonna get that. Anyway, so so yeah, it has 4 bedrooms, 2 bath. It's 0.26 of an acre. The yard is really nice, really nice. It's nice and green. It has sprinkles. It has a peach tree, and it also has a English walnuts. There we go. And so it's actually pretty nice, and it's in a nice neighborhood. It's on 800 East, and it's like 279 North, 800 East in Payson. So it's all the lots there are really nice. There's a couple of new houses near there, so you know the neighborhood is, you know, going to a better state. And the people there also takes care of their yards and the neighborhood looks so good.
Remind me of the price point again?
What was that?
Price point again?
Oh, yeah, 445. So
Awesome. Ken?
I have a listing that in 28 years, I don't know, never taken this long to sell a listing, but it is.
Well, you put your name on the sign in front, right?
Okay, Jeff.
You didn't put your wife's name on there with this old faster. Okay?
Yeah, well, she stopped being a realtor about 20 years ago. Decided to be a teacher, so that's how that killed that. Anyway, it's in Stone Hollow, which is a PUD, but they call themselves condos because they don't like FHA apparently. And it's 500,000 even, 3,500 square feet, so it's $146 a square foot. Everything else in Taylorsville is $220.
Yeah.
And it's been updated. It's a twin home though. That's, you know, there's an HOA, but I mean, the HOA even covers all the water, not just the outside water. It covers everything, you know, snow removal, you name it, water sewer track, you know, all that. And I'm fathom as to what happened, as to what has happened, is why it hasn't sold. So if you've got any buyers, like I said, you know, 500 even, it's a great deal.
You might want to put it on the MLS. Just saying. Anybody else? Eric?
It is on the other. For the same reason you put up with me. Yeah.
Go ahead, Eric.
I still have my listing. It's been on listed for about 34 days. It's 1.39, 5,400 square feet. The house is only 8 months old. The people that built it, it's a custom home. They thought it would be their forever home. They were wrong. He got a great job transfer, so he took it. 6 months ago, it appraised for 1.45. The house is gorgeous. It's beautiful, but the lot is not. They didn't put anything into the lot, so it's kind of like a Van Gogh with the 2x4 frame. And so admittedly, it's going to need some work, and it backs up. I think the other negative is it backs up. It's one of those homes that backs up to Pioneer Crossing. We all know there's going to be stuff going on with that. So it's going to just take somebody who will just make an offer and you know, try to get something worked out so they can make the lot better. But it's had traffic. It's had people looking at it. So
How long has it been on the market?
34 days.
You've got 8 more days.
Yeah, I know.
Average.
Right. Well, I think in that in that price range, it's a little longer, but.
Tom's gonna come over and make an offer 8 days.
Great. So,
Brooke,
We got a 1 acre lot in Orem here that has 3 buildable lots, or if you tear down the house, you could get another lot out of it. But, we're trying to get it developed right now. And, so if you got any builders that are looking for lots to build on, I think it's a great location.
I have a new listing in Highland. It's up there in the ridge, so it's tall. It's completely finished on all 3 levels. It's less than 2 years old and it shows like a model home. It's got a full mother-in-law type apartment downstairs. There's a kitchen, a bedroom, bath. It's loaded with extras. She spent like $740 on it. I've got it listed at $689. Had to tell her all her extras didn't make that big a difference, but it does show like a dream. It's way nicer than any of the others. Does have the garage that comes in from the back and then the kind of the courtyard area up front. So you'll find signs in the front. It's key box.
2 or 3.
It's easy to show. 2-car. Nice size 2-car garage.
it's almost a 3, almost, but it's really.
See
But
what I
it's
can-
almost.
I'll
If
see
you
what I
park
can
the
find
third
into
car
it.
side-
And it does have this really cute little patio area on the south side, even though when they have the garage in the back, you know, they don't have a backyard. And it has that cute courtyard out front, but it's just really just like new. And I know I've got somebody looking at it this weekend who wants to use it the way kind of they did, where they had a place for the mother-in-law downstairs, totally separate from the rest of the house. But it's 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, really a lot of extras.
I have a $3.5 million listing in Elk Ridge. It would be ideal for families that have kids moving back in because it's so big. You would never see them. There's so many.
That's
so
a
many-
plus.
So many bedrooms, so many baths, and it's 5.25 acres horse property. The views are incredible, mountain views, valley views everywhere. It's really a great property. I have actually had people look at it that we're doing compounds for families, so if you have anybody, it'd be great.
Hey, did you have one? Did you raise your hand? Okay. Sorry. Tim?
Listing coming up in the next month. Can I talk about that? Is that allowed to advertise?
Yes.
Far out.
So if you know where Palisades Drive is in Orem, really nice street, about a 5,000 square foot home with a basement apartment with separate entrance. It's an estate situation, so they're in the process of getting mom and dad stuff out. And it's gonna be really affordable for that area. On the low end, if they don't do any aesthetic upgrades, it's gonna be in the low 900s. They might do some carpet and paint and cabinet stuff, which would push it probably just under $1 million, but good price for that neighborhood.
Is it a Rambler or a 2-story?
2-story with a full basement
Or
apartment.
back up to the
North Palisades?
on the east side of the street or the west?
It's on the west side of the street, so out the front, you're looking out the mountains.
On North Palisades?
Anybody else? Okay. Gonna move on then. You have to leave, right?
No, I can.
You're good?
You can do
sit
this,
through
right?
the whole meeting?
Yes.
Then we're gonna go in order. We won't skip around. Our first in-house partner that's here today with us is Veris Title. Y'all know Branda. I'm gonna turn the reins over to her. They've got some exciting news they want to share.
I didn't want to follow the magic. Because I'm like, I can't compete with that. You guys need to come on up.
Yeah.
Ladies first.
That's it. All right, I'll sit over here. All right, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Branda with Veris Title. We have some exciting news. We have acquired the employees of Traveling Titles, so we have more people to serve you. We also have an office in St. George now, so we'll be able to do that. And I'm just gonna let them take a minute to introduce themselves and tell a little bit about them.
My name is Rebecca O'Boyle. I'm not new to title, and I'm certainly not new to real estate. How long has it been? Gosh,
5 years?
You're looking at
Long time that, I've been an agent, managed the relocation department for Century 21. I recognize your face. So happy
She
to
used to
help
be
you.
on my dance team at
That's
BYU.
great. We just put that together.
Why is she like so much younger than you?
I don't know.
He was the instructor.
That's also true.
Oh, okay.
So,
They're gonna perform after.
yeah, well,
Hey, just for men, here I come.
so happy to help you with your title needs. I certainly understand the challenges with your transaction and how important communication is and making sure that everything goes perfectly.
Same here. Mark Fulcher, been in the industry 31st year, this year.
Cool.
Since 94, I was an agent owner broker up here for a long time. Got a net title not too long ago. I've been here. I have a lot of agents that I'm using that they're using me because you're all clients, right? You have your own clients and then you are our clients, you know? So the aspect of traveling title, what do you think that is? Traveling title.
Have stamp will travel.
Have stamp will travel. Good.
I like it.
Anything else? So I'll give you my little 60-second spiel. Is that cool? Real estate transactions, both commercial, residential, anytime, anywhere. After hours, before hours, weekends included. We've done deals on the hood of a truck at 5:30 in the morning. It's literally. I've gone over to people's house at 8 p.m. I've gone to Primary Children's Hospital at 9 p.m. Down in, I'm in St. George, so if you have anything going on down there or Cedar City, anything like that, I can help you with that. And I'm up here at least once or twice a month. So Mark Fulcher, Veris title, almost didn't pronounce it.
Yeah, one of my favorite closings we did, this was a couple of years ago, but the buyer was getting ready to go on his deer hunt. And his loan docs were date sensitive, as I'm sure you know, but he was leaving at 4 a.m. So I was like, okay, well, how are we gonna sign this? And I said, all right, well, I guess we're going to your house at 12:01 a.m. and we'll sign everything and then you'll get your little nap and then off you go to deer hunt. So I was at his house at 12 a.m. signing those docs and stuff. So like Mark said, we'll close anywhere, anytime. My name's Scott Gowdy. I also am coming over from Traveling Title. I guess I'm the young buck, been in the business since 2014. All I've known is title though. I graduated from BYU in 2014, then came straight over and just been doing this since. I played rugby at BYU, was on the 2012, 2013, and 2014 national championship teams. So this Friday, the Utah Warriors, which is the state team.
You going?
I'll be there. I'll be there at halftime as one of the championship teams. They're gonna have all the.
Get a picture, April.
So if you don't have tickets and you'd like to go, let me know. I can get you a link for some discounted tickets, but that's Friday night. So I love sports and I love real estate, closing title. You know, mostly it closed residential, but commercial as well. And looking forward to serving you and your clients at Veris Title and please use us. You got no reason not to, right? With all of us here with our experience. And so any questions you have, reach out to us. Looking forward to working with you and glad to be part of the Veris team and the Fathom family. So
I do have a question. Have you guys got things worked out where they can do closings via Zoom?
We have a online platform, so they can sign with an online notary. So yeah, we've had that. So it's sellers only, like you can do buyers, it's the lender that has the issue. So if the lender allows it,
yeah,
we're set up for that.
we are working on two. I am an electronic notary myself, and one of our escrow officers down in St. George, Jill, is as well. So we're working on getting to the point where we can do
Where
it,
they're the
where we can
actual-
actually do it. But for now, we can do it like Brenda said. So.
Yeah. And then for those that don't know, I have this. We do have our app for earnest money. So if your clients, if they want to download this, they can submit their earnest money through there, kind of like a big deposit. And then we also have an app for you realtors that you can download. It's called Veris Title One, where you can go and do net sheets. There's some marketing materials, all sorts of little things, but you can always call us. And Don has a
Yeah,
question.
Brenda, I was just gonna say about the Veris Title One app. We are doing classes every Friday. This coming Friday is our last one until after July, because I think July and August we're taking off. But anyway, Every Friday, we're doing the Fathom Learning Lab. That will come up in a minute, but I wanted to point out that we're teaching you how to use the Verus Title I app. You guys, it is amazing. You can do all of your marketing in one spot on your phone, on that app. And we can show you how to do it. If I can do it, even a caveman can do it.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Amen.
Is there a fee for the traveling title?
No, oh, no, that's just part
No.
of our services
No.
anyway, so yep, just.
That title will travel, my friend.
Great.
And then as always, to get a hold of us, you can always send your orders or questions to ut@veristitle.com. And it's Verus, not versus. That's a common misconception, so it's Verus. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you.
Yeah, good job.
All right, guys, as usual, and I'll give my always speech. I know you guys all have relationships with title people, go back way far. But just give them a shot. And you've got a client that is willing to give them a shot. I think you'll be impressed with what you get. I was, and so, Todd's done a number of deals with them. We've had a number of people, Kay has, Bill has. So just give them a shot. If
And
you
that's
have the
really
chance.
the at Verus tight.
No, that's just me being dumb. It should have an L in it.
Okay,
Sorry.
Oh, I should have said that. I should have said not versus. I should have said type.
okay.
Yeah.
Hooked on
Yeah,
phonics
Verus
for me.
Title. At Verus Title. I'm sure it's like Scott's probably at Scott at Verus Title. Is that true?
It's Scott.Gowdy. There's another
Scott
Scott in
Gowdy.
Texas.
Okay,
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
mine marked out Fulcher.
Yeah, just do UT and it'll, we
there you
can,
go. UT at
Verus title.
veristitle.com.
Yeah.
And that'll get them
Easy to
to
remember.
somebody. Or just call me, I'll get it. All right, our next in-house partner is Encompass Lending, and we actually have exciting news as well. We have hired a new branch broker, or they have. Guess they're not part of me, but Trace Miller is the new branch broker. Hopefully y'all got this video email from him yesterday and played it. I was gonna play it for you now, but because he wasn't gonna be here,
If you want to go ahead, Blake, go ahead.
we don't want it.
Okay, fair enough. I wouldn't either.
Mine didn't work. When I clicked on it, it took me some Prezi thing,
Yeah,
but.
then you click again.
It's puzzling.
Right.
Yeah, we'll give the floor to Trace to introduce himself and do his thing.
So my name is Trace Miller. I was the third child born in Puerto Rico, so I got numbers like uno, dos. I did vote for the last one to be named
Were your
Ocho.
siblings Uno and Dos?
No, but we got a vote for the last one. I said Ocho, and they said no. So I was voted off the island into a mortgage company. So anyway, so I've done magic professionally for over 40 years. Matter of fact, after this, I actually have to go do a couple shows today. So I thought I'd show you a little bit of about who I am. Yeah, would you like to come and help me?
Sure.
Awesome. So can we make fun of you too?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
excellent.
I
fine.
see you on stage, shoot with David Copperfield.
Yeah, well, you know. So
He's the one that got cut out.
yeah, that's right, yeah. So this is the cut the rope up and put it back together trick. I always like to explain lending when I do this here. So we're gonna introduce the rope just to show it as this real piece of rope here. On the left side, we have the left end. On the right side, we have the right end. And right here, we keep the center. It's a bonus question to worry about. Okay. To prove it's real, we'll actually cut off the left side, which now leaves us with the right side, and of course, the center. Okay, after cutting off the left side, we can also cut off the right side, which just now leaves us with the middle of the rope. Okay. So anyway, okay, I've cut the left side, I've cut the right side. We're gonna have you cut it in the middle. Now, this
Awesome.
is very, very important that we have it equally and evenly at the center. Okay.
Okay.
Otherwise, it messes everything up. Excellent. And we can see that she has cut the rope. Nowhere near the center.
Oh
Okay.
my goodness.
That's okay.
Tricked me.
That's right. I wouldn't stand here and do that. No. Let's do this here. We'll try this again here. Take the magic scissors. That's how you spell it. They're spelled S-C scissors. Okay, take the magic scissors. You're gonna wave it over both pieces of rope and say the magic words, which are
Gizzards.
abracadabra. That's good. Yeah.
Deborah.
Wave it over both pieces of rope. Very good. And we should be able to put it back together. Now, I know, pretty cool. All right, so thank you for that wonderful burst of silence. So, okay. Okay. Thank you. That's okay. You know what?
Back together.
That trick, I got a standing ovation and a hemorrhoids coming, so. We're gonna take both ends, we're gonna tie it together into a knot.
There's a reason for
They were
that.
already standing.
Oh, yeah, all right, now, to make sure it is equally and evenly in the middle, and borrow scissors with lightning drill speed, I will cut it in half. Now, hold that. That's okay. Now, the point to this is like in many transactions, they sometimes come apart together, and if you have a really good lender, they can kind of tie it together and actually keep it, long enough to close. But we're gonna show you, not everything is as awesome as that, but I'll show you. We're gonna make a knot on the left side, and we're gonna make also a knot on the right side. And here's what we're gonna do. You're going to cut this next to the knot, up and down motions. Right,
Up and down motions.
yeah, this, yeah.
Like, okay, so I'm actually gonna cut it? Or
Yeah.
I'm just pretending.
This is not 60 minutes, right? Go ahead. Okay, again, on that side. Excellent. Let me borrow these just in case you don't like the end of the trick. Now. What we're gonna do is, we're gonna have you blow on all three knots. We're gonna put this rope back together. Ready?
Okay.
1, 2, 3, blow.
Boy.
And there you have it. You blew it. I'm just kidding. Okay. Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3, blow harder. Ready? Bud? You missed one. Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. You hold this in. I'm gonna stand way over here because it smells like you swallowed your socks. Now hold it high over your head. Say about 10 feet.
10 feet?
Okay. That's fine. Okay. All right. No. Just all right. Blow on the last one in the middle. Ready? 1, 2, 3, blow. Harder. Okay. Okay. Hold on. I got a better idea. Maybe maybe it'd be a lot easier if it was a little bit closer. Okay. All right. Okay, let's just do this here. Let's just take you have at home and you can practice with this, okay? Now, before we do, we have to do what's called a PSA. You know what that is? It's a public service announcement, okay? There's a lot of discrimination going on against rope. And we try to stomp out discrimination against rope everywhere we go. So this rope walks into this restaurant and he says to the waiter, he says, "I'd like a sandwich." And the waiter says, no, we don't serve rope here. And so he went out just much like you saw him a second ago, and he crossed his feet just like this. And he ran his fingers through his hair. He was very, very upset, just like that. Would you go open your hand? The clean one. This one's better. Okay, okay. All right. And he went out and he sat on the sidewalk and he said, "I'm gonna go back in and make that waiter give me a sandwich." So he walks back in, he says to the waiter, he says, "Aren't you that rope?" And he says, "Nope, I'm afraid not." So you better get how big. Thank you. Big hand. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so obviously you can tell I'm shy like garlic. So but I have been doing mortgages for 30 years. 94 started as well. You correct, good memory. And I have my office down here by the copier, so it looks like the Death Star. It has a bunch of monitors in there. But I also live up the street by Macy. So if you want to know what analyzer or client's buying power looks like, please give me a call. I will be here in about 10 minutes, zip down here, or I can meet you at night or your clients and stuff. Looking to show you what it is that we can help you close transactions here. Yes,
Can you
Don,
make credit scores disappear?
I can make them go up.
Okay, good.
That's right,
Even
yeah.
Better.
Yeah, so.
Disappear would be bad.
That's right.
One disappear.
That's right. Unfortunately, I've done long enough.
That with the interest rate.
That's right. Right. So, any questions? Excellent. Okay. I will tell you this year, I love what I do. And when I was in school, I was really, really good at math. I was the kid that just understood algebra, understood geometry, stuff like that here. I also, yeah, other kids look like, huh? Yeah. But I just like the math. It makes sense to me here. I also like puzzles. When I see a client's financial paperwork, to me, it's just a math puzzle. And I'm good at solving them. I will tell you this quick anecdote here. There's lots of good lenders out there. There are, okay? And I tell people, you might meet a lender as good as me, you just won't meet one that's better, okay? I like what I do and I'm good at it, okay? A couple Christmases ago, I had a realtor at a credit union, and he basically said, I got a client that just got turned down by the credit union. He says, "They want to get him before Christmas." And I said, "Sure." So I took a look at it and I said, "Yeah, I can get it done." And the realtor, the listing agent said, no, I'm gonna have my loan guy look at it here. And so their loan guy looked at it and says, "No, we can't do it here." It was an engineer, made a lot of money, but was just missing it. And the wife was trying to say that she had this job, they just buy her job. And so the other lender said, "No, we won't do it here." So the other agent said, "No, I'm gonna have my loan guy look at it." And so he looked at it and the same thing, they didn't like it. And I said, "I can do it. I can get it done before Christmas." And so
they said, how are you gonna get it done? We had 3 lenders that said you can't do it. And I said, tell you what, I will give you the answer to that at the title, as when we're signing for the loan docs and stuff. So right before Christmas, they're signing, both realtors were like, how do you do it? And I said, this is something that anybody could have done. It's just something that just dawned on me. They were putting 5% down, they had to pay mortgage insurance, and the seller was paying like $15,000 in closing costs. And they only needed about 7 or 8,000. They just had all this extra money left over. And I said, what I decided to do is to buy, you can do a one-time buyout and just buy out the mortgage insurance. It costs like $7,000, $8,000 anyway. So there was enough money there to do this, and we bought it. And without the mortgage insurance, the ratios worked, they were fine. So I went and did it here. The reason I share that with you is any of the lenders in this deal, story, could have done it. And I'm not better than anybody. I just better off. I just figured it out. Okay. Sometimes it's just a matter of another perspective. Okay. And sometimes that makes a difference. Okay. So what I would ask for is give me one transaction, one chance, and I'll show you what I can do here. Okay. Before I go, I'll show you a picture of my pride and joy. See? The comedy magic routine. Anything not funny is magic. So.
Right.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you for having me. It's good to be had. I hope you agree. Okay, all right. Oh, please don't stop.
Thanks, Trace.
Oh,
And I'll give the same spiel. If you've got lenders that you've used for a long time and you love them, great, keep using them. But if you ever have somebody who doesn't have a lender, or would like to give somebody else a shot, give Trace a shot. He does a great job.
You want a tricky deal, call him.
that's right, that's right.
I have used Trace for 30 years and it's been great.
So there was a magic store at the Orem Mall, and I was working there while I went to BYU for about 7 years. And one day in walks Brooke. He's got this brand new shiny gold jacket. John Hart just gave it to him. And he was a brand new baby realtor, and he was coming in to buy some magic tricks. He wanted to be able to show the kids or just break the ice, so that here. So
It didn't work for me.
that's right. Anyway, but yeah, so I met Brooke probably 30 years ago, but it's been a minute here. So awesome. Well, if you my phone number is written on, I take it on the door down the hall. So please come in. And like Jeff told you, I sent y'all an email with that small video, couple-minute video introducing myself. So thank you.
Thanks, Trace. All right, guys, on with Fathom stuff then. Summit 2024, the speakers were announced. Jen Herman is going to be our featured keynote speaker.
Who did you say?
Jen Herman.
Jen Herman.
Sorry, Brittany is your one of the featured speakers. She's the keynote, and then Jen is a featured speaker. She'll be talking about Instagram, all your social media stuff, and Brittany talks about creating super fans. It's her book.
Yeah, I'm listening to it right now. It's actually a really good book.
Yeah, so these are going to be incredible speakers, guys. I promise you're going to learn something there. You're a couple days away from early bird pricing coming down. That ends the end of this month, 6/30, so you can get it for $650 instead of the $725. You can't come up with the full funds right now. You can do a payment plan of $250 per month for 3 months. So get registered. We've already got a couple who have. It should be a good time down there. Fathomsummit.com. All right, NAR settlement. I don't know if you guys are as sick of this as I am. But I spend pretty much half of my day every day dealing with just updating and listening to and understanding and educating myself about what's happening with NAR, with this NAR settlement. It changes almost every day, so it's crazy stuff. This is just a screenshot of Real Estate News front page, and of everything that was on the front page, 5 of those articles deal with NAR stuff that's happening right now with the settlement. This is continuing to change. It's continuing to evolve. Just yesterday or the day before, RE Colorado, which is the 16th largest in MLS in the country, is selling to a private equity firm instead of being member owned or association owned. And that's, I'm sure, due to liability and those kind of things that they don't want to take on. There may be some other reasons underlying as well. The DOJ
article today about is the financial situation.
Financials. Yeah, the DOJ is also starting to stick their fingers back into this stuff. And so that may change the landscape dramatically. I'll give you a little bit of a time frame on what happened with this. In 2019, there was a case brought by the DOJ against NAR, basically for the same kind of stuff. The settlement involves. In 2020, that case was settled, and in 2020 is when you saw the ability to put a 0 BAC instead of a $1 BAC, so a seller could then offer no BAC at all. And also Clear Cooperation came out where you have to have properties on the MLS within 24 hours of public marketing. And so that was part of that settlement in 2020. The case was settled, NAR thought we were done. In 2021, the DOJ came back and asked for the case to be reopened so that they could get back into it. Right, yeah, exactly. In 2023, the district court rejected that reopening of the case, but the DOJ appealed it back to the district court. And so in April 2024, the appeals court reversed the decision and allowed the case to be reopened. In May of 2024, NAR filed a rehearing to keep the case closed. And just on June 17th, DOJ has come back and pushed against that and said, basically, in their response, they said that the DOJ said that their settlement only covered what was in the past and didn't cover anything in the future, right? And so they reserve the right to go after them in the future for anything, even though the case has been settled, right? And so the DOJ is back on the hunt. What the DOJ's ultimate goal is to make it so that there's a full decoupling of commission payments. They want sellers to be able to pay sellers agents only and buyers to be able to pay buyers agents only. And so there's no way to pay across that, right? That's what the DOJ wants. If that goes into effect, it will dramatically change our landscape and the way that things happen. It's going to affect consumers dramatically.
Can I say something?
Yeah. You're the principal broker. You can say something anytime you want.
This just happened this weekend, here in this valley. One of our agents, showing a property that people are quite interested in it. And contacted the listing agent, and it's been on the market for a month, and it had a BAC of, which is still allowed in there, of 3%. After our agent contacted the other agent, and was in the process of writing an offer, the BAC was changed to 0. And the agent was notified before they finished an offer. But in questioning why, well, my seller's been after me to do this and I hadn't done it yet. And so we're doing it now. He wants to test the market, how it's gonna be, and see whether it's a good offer or not, and then he'll decide what he paid.
Wow.
So then we had to do that broker fee
Brokerage
addendum
payment addendum.
and do that. And of course, they countered back with a different BAC than what was on the buyer broker agreement, and a different BAC than what they put in the addendum. So get ready for people around here that are gonna be playing this game. They don't have to wait till August. And that was the statement from this agent. So go ahead.
Ken and I have kind of gone the rounds on this argument, but what does everyone see? Do you see buyers having more of a propensity to just go to the sellers directly and proceed without representation? And that being the case, I wonder what would be some good ways to counter that.
Yeah, I think that we'll see that. I think we'll see a number of buyers trying to be unrepresented, especially at the start. And then we'll see probably a year to 18 months in, a whole lot of lawsuits about buyers who got taken advantage of and problems and issues. Then we'll swing back the other direction again. There's going to be a lot of back and forth and Wild West in this as we go forward.
And buyers have been trying to get into our commissions for the last several years anyway. I want to be unrepresented, so I want part of your commission, but this may make it easier for them to try to be that way. But the thing is, if you're the listing agent you cannot write the offer for that buyer. They have to write their own offer, which is gonna be all screwed up, and then you have to counter it with, to make it proper. But you gotta make sure you don't fall into the loophole of writing an offer for an unrepresented buyer on your listing. You can't do it.
Does that mean the only way for them to view the house then is with the open house? Because if they're unrepresented and the seller will want to get paid. the
So
buyer-
NAR has clarified that if you're a listing agent, that you can open the house and essentially show the house to an unrepresented buyer without signing a buyer agreement because you work for the seller. You don't work for the buyer. And so you can do that. That's allowed.
Also, I spoke with Craig Wagner a couple of days ago, last week.
Legal
Yeah.
counsel for UAR.
Yeah, and he said that they've got the forms committee and all of the what do they call those people, the not ambassadors,
Yeah, I know.
like Randy Smith's one of them.
Board members, commissioners.
What is it?
Commissioners.
Commissioners.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
all approved by the commissioners and by the division. And it's gone to the DOJ for final approval, but what that is within the Rep C itself, there will be a paragraph number such and such. That's where you will write in what the commissions are to be paid.
So that, they are adding that for sure?
It's in the final stages, and he said in the past, anything we sent to the DOJ was a rubber stamp.
If
So
so,
this
this and said they took that out when we had that meeting.
Well, I just talked to him, and he just said it just got approved by everybody, but now it's gotta go to the DOJ.
I think it's gonna be a wait and see what happens, yeah.
Anyway, Craig was real excited about it and thought it was a big hurdle that they've got through to get it to that point.
If the
But that
DOJ
way,
approves it.
that way you don't have to do an addendum. It'll be part of the body of the contract, which makes it look like normal and
Part of it.
part of the deal.
Thanks, Bill. You wanna do our settlement stuff? No, I'll do it. I love NAR settlement.
Okay, we'll go through this really quickly because we really are crunched for time. So first of all, who's covered by NAR settlement? So the NAR settlement covers all of you as independent contractors, okay? So you don't have to worry about yourself being covered, but they don't cover Fathom. Fathom is in the process right now, we're told, of negotiations, and so that we'll give you information on that when we know, okay? Can a buyer's agent receive more compensation than is listed on their agency agreement?
No.
No. So if you put a 1% commission on your buyer broker agreement, guess what? And let's say the seller's offering a 3%, you're still only going to get a 1%. So my suggestion is that you always put a 3%.
Or a 4, or a what?
Or 12, or
Fine.
whatever you're worth. You,
So
yeah,
Peter Christensen said that at any time you can amend that. So even if you had a 1 and you found listing they were interested in a 3, you do an amendment to that and change it to 3. And he said you can do that.
hey, I
If the buyer
actually,
will do that.
They did say that yesterday.
Makes sense.
actually, Todd, yeah, they did come out with something just recently that said that could happen.
Could you write down per MLS or?
Not to be on the ML.
Oh, it's not gonna be on MLS.
It's not on the MLS.
Well, we-
So-
Even buyer by definition.
So you're gonna have to call the agent, is how we're perceiving it, and find out if they're offering a commission and how much they're offering. Then you're gonna have to submit that, either with the buyer brokerage payment addendum, or the real estate brokerage payment addendum, or some other way in a escrow instructions or whatever. We'll give you more direction on that as we know, yeah.
Also, I saw a couple of things from Inman and everything where there are all these websites popping up to where a listing agent can pay $2 or $3 or $5 and have what their BBC, is going to be for their listing published.
They're trying to do that. I think we will see in the future because the DOJ is trying to nix that. The DOJ does not want commissions advertised. They want it to be us between our buyers, if we're representing the buyer, the sellers between their agent, and then we coordinate with one another to find out who's paying the commission, or what the DOJ wants is they want the buyers to pay the buyer's commission and the sellers to pay the seller's commission. Okay.
Although I did read a memorandum too, that, like, for example, the military one, the VA loans
Yes.
have now made it to where you can adjust the VA loan to pay.
The VA just did a temporary exclusion or inclusion that you can now include realtor commissions into a VA loan. So, and we may see more of that, you guys. Again,
Almost
I think it's
guaranteed.
wait and see as we get closer to August 17th. I think we're gonna see a lot of things come out, and Jeff will keep you informed as they do, okay? When do these rules go into effect? I think we all know August 17th is the new deadline. No changes on that, as we know. Can a listing agent tell the seller that paying a low or no BAC might mean a buyer's agent won't show the home to their clients?
Sure.
You're not supposed to say that.
You are not supposed to say that. You're not supposed to tell them that. Just like you can't call somebody up and say, are you, yeah, I have a buyer that's interested in your home. Are you offering a BAC? And if the seller's agent says, no, we're not, well, then I'm not showing them your home. You can't say that either, you guys. You cannot not show a home because of the amount of the commission that's being offered, or because of no commission being offered. Question?
Can you say just like, okay, I will let my client know? That's it. You're not
Yes, we're
saying-
gonna talk about that here in just a minute. Yeah,
What about if maybe you can only show somebody 5 or 10 houses and there are 20 houses for sale in that price range and in that whatever, and you can kind of say, gosh, I'm not sure I can show it because I can only show 10 houses.
okay, so I've had that conversation with agents before, and this is how I personally feel about it. If, let's say you have somebody coming in from out of state, and they say, we've only got 1 day to look at houses, or 1 evening to look at houses. You can only show them what, 5 or 6 houses? And you take the criteria and you put it in and you get 15 or 20 choices. Can you decide which ones you're going to show them based upon the amount of commission that's being offered?
Yep.
No.
You're not supposed to.
You can.
Will agents do it?
Not unless they tell you to.
What's
If
that?
your buyer tells you to, you can.
If your buyer instructs you to, if you have a conversation, we're gonna talk about that here in a minute. If you have a conversation with your buyer and say, there are gonna be some sellers that are offering compensation and some that won't. And we have an agreement between the two of us that, you're going to pay me X amount of X% for commission. Do you want to look at homes that are offering, where the seller is not offering any compensation? Because that's your choice. And if they give you instructions, then yes, you can do that. Okay? All right, next one. Yeah.
So if you have a new listing and you're having a conversation with your clients, with the sellers, how's the best way to handle that conversation without saying that?
They're not gonna show it.
We're gonna talk about that here in just a minute, okay? Okay, UIR is still working on new forms. We told you that. Discussion scripts about commissions with buyers and sellers. Let's see, I think.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
That's it, okay, so
That's the way to do it.
So,
Churro.
here's what I'm going to give you real quick, and we will have a class on this about discussions, on how to have discussions with buyers and how to have discussions with sellers. Because we're crunched for time, I'm gonna give you a quick Reader's Digest version of what I believe, okay? I believe, and actually I've read like Jeff said, we've read a whole ton of articles on this. And in other states, the discussions are totally different than what our state discussion is going to be, right? Because we do things differently here. We've always had, buyer agency, where other states have not, okay? So here's my suggestion. First of all, you're gonna have to learn how to have difficult conversations with your clients. You're gonna have to be the professional. So you're gonna need to decide how you want to do your business. Is it okay to tell a buyer that my business, I have a 2% that I charge for my business? Can you set something that you do for your business? You can, if you do it for everyone, but you can't do it for, okay, you've got blue eyes, and so I'm gonna do it for 2% for you. You've got brown eyes, so I'm gonna do it I need 3% from you.
Oh, I thought you were on saying mine.
So, if you decide on how you're going to do your business, you have to do it the same for everyone. Otherwise, what is it called? It could be viewed as a form of discrimination, right? Okay, so conversation that you should have, okay? You talk to your buyers and you explain to them that, and if they ask you about the commission lawsuits, you guys quiz them and let them know, there's a lot of things that are going around. Let me tell you what we know about it. And you want to keep your eye on the prize. What is the prize?
Getting them a house.
Getting them a house, not getting all tied up in the noise, right? So have a very brief discussion that you feel comfortable with, that you can share with them, so that you can say something like, we have always done things differently in Utah. And so here's how I do my business. But I want you to know that the main focus that I am going to be focused on for the entire time is to find you the best home that we can, okay, for the price. And I'm good at negotiating. That's what I do every day. That's why I got into real estate. And so I'm going to find you the best price. I'm going to find you the best terms, and I will work hard for you. Okay. In exchange for that, you're going to agree to pay me. I mean, if you're a mechanic, you don't go and have somebody fix your car and expect them to do it for free, right? So in exchange, you're going to agree to pay me a certain amount of commission. Okay. Have that discussion with them. I would suggest that you don't be wishy-washy and say, well, what do you think? You need to know your value. And we have a whole bunch of stuff in the marketplace, that a whole checklist of things that show your value that you can choose from. You can pick and choose things from that list. There's one for buyers and one for sellers. You don't know where that is, we can send it out to you. Anyway, have that conversation with them and you say, so there are going to be some sellers that are going to offer some kind of compensation. There will probably be some sellers that don't offer some compensation. There's also going to be a whole lot of homes out there that probably fit your criteria. Would you like to see all homes, or would you like me to focus just on the ones where a seller is offering some compensation? Because that's your choice. And I am at your disposal and will do whatever you direct me to do. Okay, if they say, you know what? Yeah, we'd like to see all homes. Then when you call a listing agent, because it's after August 17th, and you say, yes, this is Don Zimmerman calling, and I've had a discussion with my buyer, and your home is potentially one that they would like to take a look at. And they have instructed me, okay, they have instructed me to give you a call and ask if you are offering compensation to a buyer's brokerage, okay? And if they say, no, we're not, then you say, I appreciate that information. I will take that back to my buyer, and then we will make a decision whether we want to look at the home or not. I'll get back to you. But you don't say, oh, you're not offering a compensation, then I'm not showing your home. We actually had that happen 2 weeks ago to one of my agents up in Midway. The agent called, she said, and they were offering a 2.5%. Well, I always get 3%. So if you're not willing to give me 3%, then I'm not going to show your home.
Oh, brother. Has she built out of jail yet?
She should be. Okay. Anyway, that's the kind of conversation you should have. Conversation so that you are doing things at the direction of your client, not doing them at your. There are so many agents out there that are making decisions for their clients, aren't they? Without talking to their clients. Don't be one of them. You need to get information from your client and direction from your client. And then you have the tools that you need to go and negotiate on their behalf. Does that make sense? Okay, all right. Churros.
Hey, Jeff, before we do churros though.
We're not leaving.
We're not leaving
We
yet.
got like an hour more of stuff,
No.
but 10 minutes to do
Yeah.
that.
So we're not done to go get churros yet?
Not
We
yet.
can't go get our churros
No,
now?
not yet.
No.
It's not even there yet.
When you guys are talking to agents about this, and maybe if they say, like, my seller's not offering that and my company's not backing me up, or, if they have any doubt about their company, get them over to us because we'll recruit them.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get them over here. And the more people we get over here, the more deals we're gonna do, the more Encompass lendings, the more diverse titles, the more whatever. So
Yeah.
if anybody even pretends like they're not happy, get it to us.
All right.
This is what we do.
So churros are coming. I know you're all here for churros. It'll be here in a minute, I promise. I know that's the only reason you came. But this is my part. I love stats. I absolutely love stats. I think it's the best part of the whole meeting. I know you guys hate it, but I'm gonna give you stats anyhow. So we're gonna go through this. Freddie Mac. So this is your 30-year average interest rate over the past, what, 6 years, 7 years? I guess that's 3 years. So we're currently trending down just a little under 7 on a national average. That's for a lender, or sorry, a borrower who's got great credit, all those kind of things. And so that's where we're at currently, trending down just a little bit, which is good. What affects that interest rate? Number one, inflation, right? Now I can't even remember. The Fed is looking at the inflation rates in order to figure out what they're going to do with rate cuts, right? If you look back here in December, when they said, hey, we're actually going to start cutting rates, then inflation started to go down. They said, hey, we're going to cut rates, and the inflation continued. Now we've got inflation flattening off, and the Fed saying, hey, we're not seeing this go where we want. Does anybody know where the Fed needs to see inflation hit?
2%, which is ridiculous.
2%, right? They want to see it right here at the 2% level. Chances of that happening right now, pretty slim, right? But that's what they want. And so they've scaled back. They went last year, about August, I think I heard that they were doing 4 rate cuts in 2024. They're now back to saying, well, we'll probably just do maybe one more, right? So that's the new one, is the Fed has adjusted and said maybe one more, and it's based on inflation. Something helping our inflation is that we're losing more jobs. Yay. More people are unemployed, right? And so we actually have a small trend up here in the number of unemployed people. That's apparently a great thing. The the Fed would like to see more people lose their jobs. I'm not sure how that all works, but it's actually helping rates. And so if we continue to see that happen and we see inflation come down, we will actually see it. One of the things I hear from buyers and sellers all the time is, I'm not sure what I want to do because it's a presidential election cycle. My person may or may not actually be voted in, and so I'm a little bit worried about what's going to happen if this person is the new president or that person, or what happened. So here's some stats for you on that. Mortgage rates decreased leading up to the last 8 elections. 8 out of the last 11 elections, mortgage rates went down. Why? They want people to feel like, hey, yeah, the rates are going down. We're gonna vote for whoever's in office, right? So a little bit of political play there. So in the last 8 out of the last 11 elections, it's gone down.
How many of those 3 were non-incumbent elections?
I'm not getting into that.
That's not a political question.
Sure, I don't know how many were I don't know how many were.
Well, you understand why I'm asking it,
Yeah,
right? Because it's not a political question, it's the incumbent.
Were they actually moving out, or were they wanting to stay in by moving rates? I don't know.
You can see out of those pretty simply, at least half.
Yeah.
I just want to know if any of the 3 where it went up.
So I don't know who was president in any of these. I'm not that smart. Ask ChatGPT. So in the sales year that the election was happening in, this is seasonally adjusted. This is what happened in our normal season between October and November. So typically between October and November, we see sales decline we're pretty close to 10%. In an election year, they drop an additional 5%. Right, so additional 5% of drop sales. So everybody pulls back and they don't want to buy. We see that quite often. And so that's something to consider. But what we see in the year after, so this is the year after the election, we see that home sales go up, right? And so everybody holds off, they wait, whoever gets elected, and then it really doesn't matter, and then they sell anyhow, right?
2025 is your year, guys.
25 is going to be awesome, right? And then in that same year, that following year, 7 out of the last 8 elections, prices went up. So you can expect prices to go up in 2025, right? And new home prices also went up 10 out of the last 11 presidential elections. So you've got everything going up that following year, so just be aware. Speaking of builders, I wanted to show you builder stats. This is builder starts. The number of single family homes is in red. You can see how many single family starts we've had. It's interesting, if I were to go back and show you that mortgage chart again, it's interesting how closely this is a reverse mirror of what happens with interest rates. So when interest rates go up, we see a decline in how many home starts, how many homes builders are building, right? When interest rates go down, we see a lot more new construction come into the market. And that's mostly A, it's affordable, and B, because they just don't want to put the risk into what's a buyer actually going to be able to afford. Zooming in on that just a little bit, you can see we're on a pretty good downtrend right now as rates are not necessarily going up, but we're not really confident that they're going to go down. And so I think a lot of builders are hedging their bets.
I have a question about builders and see if anyone knows. I could ask the builder, but I had a client looking in Grindstone Estates in Mapleton of January 2023, and now a client looking now, and within 16 months, the price of the same house has gone up $125,000, 15%. And I remember like Edge had cut their prices back around that time. I can't remember, it was 90,000, 60,000. Other builders were cutting their prices, but I'm like, that's a huge jump. One of their houses has gone up 95,000, another one's gone up 125,000.
What's the question?
Well, I'm just wondering if anyone knows, like, are they trying to make up for when they lost money, when they like got people in at a certain price and then the price?
Let me ask you a question.
I'm shocked at how much it went up.
If you had an egg business and you could sell eggs for $12 a dozen, would you?
Yeah.
Okay, what if nobody bought them at 12? What would you do?
Yeah, you have to cut the price. So I'm just
Okay,
surprised.
and
how
then-
they're selling
And
it
so
right
you
now.
cut your price, right? And
Yeah.
eventually you start selling eggs and people start buying again. And pretty soon you're like, well, maybe I can get 12 for them. And if you sell them for 12, would you continue to sell them for 12? Even though previously you'd sell them for 10?
Yeah.
It's all a marketing thing, right? How much as a builder, how much can I get for this house? Or even as a seller, how much can I get for this house?
It's huge.
Eggs have probably gone up 15%.
Like,
to
I'm
be really
just
honest.
surprised that people are paying that much more right
So-
now. Like, are they paying that much?
They
more
are paying that much more.
Than what they were paying? Like,
And
13, 15
here's
years ago.
something showing that, right? This is housing affordability. Housing affordability is out of control right now. So the red line shows what the median house price is, and the blue line shows affordability. Let me throw a 1 in there. This is 1 on the scale of housing affordability. And what the 1 is it says a person earning the average income for our area can afford a median priced house. Okay. So when blue goes over 1, that means that if you make the median income for your area, that you can no longer afford that home, right? That median priced home. So this is a national number. Here's Utah's number. Our median price is $575. This came from Utah Real Estate. That puts us up there, right, with our median price and right there with our affordability index. That's how far over in Utah we are on affordability, right? This is a huge problem. Interest rates, problem, right? Inventory, problem. Housing affordability, massive problem. If you can solve this for your clients, this is what will help them to buy a house, right? I don't know how to solve it yet.
In fact, we're ranked as the 3rd most expensive state in the United States to purchase a home. Hawaii is number 1, California is number 2, and I never thought I would see us competing with California, but we are number 3.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Thanks to them.
Yes, thanks to California. They all live here now. Some market stats from Utah Real Estate. So we're at 10,060 listings. This was as of a couple days ago. I looked this morning. We're just over 9,800.
That's statewide.
So this is statewide. This is the entire state. Number of solds in the last 90 days is 9,300. Under contracts is up again at almost 5,000. If you compare that with May, we're up in almost all stats. So we are still seeing a stronger market. We are still seeing a lot of buyers in the market.
You show us the screen. We're not seeing the screen online.
Nobody's seeing this? Have you seen it the whole time?
I can see it online. I saw it earlier, but it's not there now.
I can see it.
So it's still showing, so Pam, you'll want to check and see why it's not showing on your screen. So this is the number of active and under contract listings. This is, I don't know why they do it this way, but this is really 1.2 million. So that's your numbers here. So total of active listings plus under contract listings for 2024 right now, we're just above 1.2 million total amount of volume, total amount of inventory here. As you can see, we're well below, going clear back to 1983, we're well below our inventory levels for almost always except pandemic years, right? So we still haven't caught up to normal inventory in our market yet. Existing homes sold. So this is the number of homes sold across the United States. We just hit 4 million again. And that's the number that was a record back in 1996. That's the first time we hit 4 million home sales. You can see that for the vast majority of that time afterwards, we've been above 4 million. We're trending up, which is a good thing. So there's still a lot of home sales. And this is the number of sold in Utah. So this is everything that's sold. This is by quarter. So number of quarterly sales. You can see that this is where we're at currently. A lot of the last, I don't know, 20 years has been above where we are currently, but still a good number of home sales. The reason I show you all of these stats, this is the whole reason. There's never, ever been a year when we've been at zero. There's never been a year. Yeah. So we're selling 9,000 homes a quarter, 3,000 homes every month. There's enough inventory out there for you to be as successful as you want to be, right? There are enough, I hear from agents all the time, the market's slow. There's nothing out there for me to do. I can't find clients. Nobody's buying, nobody's selling. People are buying and people are selling, right? It's up to you on whether you go and get those sales or not. There are agents doing better this year than any other year, right? So it's not about the market. It's not about the number of sales. It's not about interest rates. It's not about affordability. People still move and still need your services. If you want to be successful, you can be as successful as you want to be. It's totally up to you on that.
Do you have any stats on memberships going up or down?
I don't.
I do know NAR reported that they've lost tens of thousands. So it's not as many as what I thought they would lose.
Yeah, and it may be a bit more significant as we go through the next cycle.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see.
Yeah.
Top producers for Don's offices. So that would be Midway, Clearfield, and Union Park. These are the top producers. Volume is dollar amount and transactions is number of transactions that they've done. So Karina's doing a great job. In fact, Don.
Yeah, you guys, this is hot off the press. So every year I've submitted numbers for Karina Bassett. You all, she was on our panel. She's part of NAREP. NAREP, I was on the board of directors for 5 years. It's the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. And I'm telling you, every Hispanic in the nation applies for these honors. But we just got the top 250 agents, Hispanic agents in the nation. And Karina came in with 62 transactions, 52 buyer sides. She came in at number 72 in the entire nation. Agents by volume, and they have a top 100 for agents by volume. She came in at number 51. Agents by the number of buyer transactions, she came in at number 43. And in our Northwest region, which is 4 or 5 different states, she came in at number 8. So you guys, I asked Karina, and I think some of you asked her when she was here, what is your magic? What is your secret? What was her response?
Nothing.
I don't know.
She said, I work hard. I go to work and I work hard. Okay, there's no magic pill, you guys. You got to get up and you got to work hard.
Yeah. Absolutely, and that's part of my reason for putting this up here. I mean, Tim's here. Tim, are you like some novelty?
Are you
and
also doing some?
are you amazing?
I should do that. No, I'm just a
Like just a guy,
kind of a
right?
dummy, yeah.
So, I mean, everybody on this
It's
board.
Agnes that does it.
Agnes, I mean,
Let's make sure we put a slash Agnes on it.
right, but everybody on this board, I mean, they're awesome. They go out and they work their butts off, and that's why they're on this board, right? It's not because they have some magic bullet that they understand how to get more transactions. They just go out. and work.
Jeff,
Yeah.
Jeff, I wanted to tell everyone, since I had no idea I was the top producer, because
Yeah.
I don't pay attention to those things, I just work. And how many conversations have we said where I'm like, I want to go work at McDonald's because this job is crazy hard and insane. Like all the time, right? We have an ongoing joke that I'm like, I'm going to go apply at McDonald's because this is such a hard job. But you just have to work your butt off, really. And I mean, and Tim is amazing. All the people on this list are amazing. But I just think stay in your lane, work really hard, and just know that McDonald's is always hiring. So.
My kids tell me, Dad, you can always be a Walmart greeter.
Yes, after August 17th, we might think differently. So.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. Thank you, Shelley. Appreciate that.
I don't, the person in here that are grateful that they're not in New York right now.
There you go.
Holy cow, yeah, that place is just going to hell.
So we're gonna go through some compliance issues very quickly here and then get you down to churros. So number one, I'm gonna get back on my soapbox on earnest money being paid at title. The REPC says that it will be paid to the brokerage. If you have an accepted offer on the buy side and you do not include the deposit of earnest money addendum, you just put your buyers in default immediately upon that signing. Right?
And yourself and the brokerage.
And yourself and the brokerage. This is my number one for the past 3 months. I've hit this over and over. And almost daily, I get a thing from Beverly saying, hey, here's another contract that doesn't have a deposit of earnest money addendum. Please, please, please. Like, I'll buy you churros every day if you'll just do your deposit of earnest money addendum.
And the
They're
problem
really that
is
important.
the client
There is.
on the other side doesn't have to.
Yeah, it's now
After the
void.
fact, they don't have to sign that,
Yeah.
and then we're
It's just gonna
screwed.
be like
Totally.
days.
Alright, so please get it done. I'll let you do the rest of compliance, Thomas.
Sam.
These are all yours.
Okay, so, I had this happen. I don't know if any of you know Matt Barton. Matt Barton is a very good broker. He's a friend of mine and he's been around a long, long time. And one of his agents did a transaction with one of my agents. And his agent said, immediately she did the earnest money to title company addendum as addendum number 1 and submitted it with the contract like you're supposed to. Well, he said, oh, no. We don't allow the earnest money to be deposited at a title company. So we'll have to hold it at our brokerage. Well, my agent is a fresh agent from California and she called me and said, Don, in California, that's a no-no. We do not. The buyer controls the earnest money, which is correct, right? It's the buyer's money. So she says, and my buyers don't feel comfortable putting it with the other company's brokerage. What can I do? Well, this was a problem when we were iPro. And so Bill and Bruce, who used to be with us, they went to an attorney and had them draw up this release of earnest money addendum. Okay, it's an addendum to the real estate purchase contract. And you can either wait, don't make it a problem till it's a problem and use this addendum if you need to, which is what she did. So I had her fill out this addendum. What it is you're getting the buyer and seller, while they're playing nice with each other in the beginning of the transaction, they're agreeing that by signing the deposit of earnest money with title insurance company addendum to the real estate purchase contract, buyer and seller mutually agree that buyer and seller signatures will serve as mutual consent and instructions to the designated title company holding the earnest money deposit to release the earnest money as delineated in the real estate purchase contract terms and conditions. Then the second part, instructions to title, holder of the earnest money deposit in the above stated real estate purchase contract and any addenda attached thereto is hereby authorized and instructed to release any earnest money deposits as mutually agreed upon within the REPC and any addenda without any further authorizations or instructions. So what is it that the title company wants? Like at the end of the transaction, if there's a fight over the earnest money, what does the title company want? They want
signature from both parties.
We want written instructions, because we certainly. don't.
And they want somebody to take liability because they don't want to take liability. So they want a signature from both parties. Well, if one party feels that they should have gotten the earnest money and they say, well, I'm not signing it here, then you have a problem, don't you? Okay? By having them sign this addendum in the beginning, they are the buyer and seller. The title company has something in writing with a signature from buyer and seller, giving them authorization to release the earnest money according to the contract. Okay? Question?
Does the title company need to sign that?
No. Title company does not need to sign it.
The title company.
However-
Doesn't need to sign it, but it's not binding to the title company. So you might deal with a title company that will still require a separate mutual release of earnest money that buyer and seller still have to sign.
Wrong.
That's
So
what
the reason I say it is, let's say both buyer and seller agree in this addendum to say earnest money will be held with Taylor Swift. Well, that doesn't bind Taylor Swift, even though buyer and seller agree that's who they want. You have to have the title company still.
Yeah, but title companies. have told
Okay,
me-
I'm gonna play the devil's
That's
advocate.
probably fine for general.
Yeah, because the thing is, we've used this, we actually, when we created this, Bill can attest to this, is because one of the title companies that is most difficult to work with on releasing earnest money, First American Title, they were giving us heart attacks, heartburn over the fact that they were not gonna release earnest money without both signatures. When we had this done, we took it to First American Title and said, they took it to their attorneys and said, yeah, if they'll sign this in the beginning, we'll release earnest money according to the contract, okay? So we have not had any pushback on this since we've used this addendum.
I've talked to Mark Weber, the president here.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah, and Matt Barton, by the way, who is a really good broker, and he goes by the book. He called me and he said, okay, Don, you got me on this one. He says, I feel comfortable enough with this addendum that if both parties will sign it, then we'll let you hold the earnest money at the title company. So that is a form that is in the Fathom Library of Forms. Okay, it's on the very last page, page 4 of the Fathom Library of Forms.
The
Okay.
biggest thing for the title company is who it goes to. If it's not specified in the contract, that's when they'll usually need something else. Cause the seller could come back and be like, no, it was supposed to be released to me. If it doesn't specify in the contract, then we don't know. That's when.
But you still need the earnest money deposit, the title.
Right.
You
Right.
would use both. So you still have to submit the earnest money to title company addendum along with this,
At the same time.
along with this one. Okay. All right. So second thing real quick. Okay. Commitment for title insurance. Who knows the difference between a preliminary title report and a commitment for title insurance? Let me tell you real quick. Barb, you
I
know?
was just gonna say, I know,
Okay.
because I went to your forms class.
Okay. You should know this. A preliminary title report is what you get. A preliminary, I talk loud, Ken. I'm not screaming, that's my normal voice. A preliminary title report is when you take a listing and you order a preliminary title report so you can check and see if there's any clouds on the title or if there's any problems before you list the property. I tell the story all the time about one of our brokers at my former company didn't get the PR, listed a property, it got under contract the next day, and she found out there was a lien for $90,000 on it, so the seller had to back out. Even though it had only been under contract for 1 day, the buyer's agent held them to the grindstone, and we were in default, and they took our earnest money. So don't get in that situation because so you should always have your preliminary title report, in my opinion, well, actually you should, before you list the property, okay? Check it. If you don't know how to read a preliminary title report, work with your title company and they'll help you, okay? A commitment for title insurance is what your seller has to provide to the buyer according to section 7 of the contract, the seller's disclosures. Seller's disclosures are not just the seller's disclosure form. It's that and a whole bunch of other things. HOA documents, you should check that and make sure. But most agents, I will tell you this, most agents are only providing the buyer with a preliminary title report, not a commitment. The commitment has their name on it as the buyer, shows how much they're insured for, and it will also, of course, have the seller's name on it.
So the difference between the two is a preliminary only has the seller's name on it as a seller. The commitment for title insurance has both names on it, and it is the actual commitment that the title company is making to provide title insurance to the,
Which is what
to
you
the
get
buyer.
when you do an updated PR. And put the buyer on title.
Yes.
Hey, Don.
So, yeah.
Maybe you're gonna cover this, but when you're working with the buyer, it's the seller title is the commitment that you need. A lot of people are taking the buyer's title company, which is for the lender, and submitting that instead of this one.
Yeah, so what Bill is saying is, who is supposed to provide the title commitment? The seller, according to section 7 of the contract, the seller provides it. You may get one from your own title company too, but that doesn't suffice what the seller is supposed to provide to you. So if they don't provide that commitment for title insurance by the seller disclosure deadline, what does that mean? That means that they are in default of the contract. Guess what? I've saved earnest monies because the first thing that I check when an agent calls me and says, Don, we backed out of a deal and they're taking our earnest money. Can you look and find me a loophole? First place I go is I look to see if they delivered the commitment for title insurance in time. And if they did that first before the other party did it, it's a strong enough argument that I've gotten them to reverse course and take care of the issue. So, okay, next, okay. Just know that there's changes. If there's water rights, the old contract used to say you had to list what water shares were going with the property. The new change on the Rep C states that all water shares are included with the property unless so stated here. These are specifically excluded from the sale. So it's the reverse of how it used to be. So just know that that's a pitfall. Again, here's section 7, tells you what all is required of the seller to provide it to the buyer, okay? Make sure you know all those things. If you have problems with HOA documents, contact your seller. They usually have a login to get to their, their dashboard, and that's where you can get those documents. Okay, if you have further problems, contact me or Jeff, okay? Compliance issues. Just know, you guys, I'll go through this real fast because we're running out of time, but just know the buyer's right to cancel or resolve objections and failure to cancel. Know what you have to do. We had one of my agents last week that the agent on the other side, his wife went into the hospital and he dinked around and didn't answer. They were asking for $7,000 in repairs. Our agent, he sent a text, says, oh, we're going to work with you, but I've got to run to the hospital with my wife. And then the day after our due diligence had expired, he said, oh no, we're not going to give you $7,000. So her ability to negotiate repairs had kind of expired. So what did she do? She went and she canceled the transaction due to due diligence. You cannot cancel a transaction after a deadline has passed. Although the transaction was canceled because she sent a cancellation, but you can't cancel it because of due diligence. So they were trying to keep the $15,000 earnest money. This agent could have canceled because of financing and appraisal, because she did have that, but she didn't do that. So Don to the rescue. We resolved it. Yeah, you want to know how? Let them know. So know what these forms say. Also know on financing condition. Okay, you all know what this box is right there, right? When you put a number in that box, I had an agent at my former company that he took in $10,000. He put $10,000 in that box. He didn't know what that box was for. And then the deal before financing and appraisal, they canceled it. And they said, well, it's after due diligence, so we get to keep your $10,000 earnest money. Okay, know what your forms say. If you don't, you are committing realtor malpractice. Okay, all right. Assignment of contracts. I learned something in a class recently. I always thought if you put Don Zimmerman and or assigns, that means that I can assign it to another party, a third party, if I want to. Not true. And or assigns only gives you a permissible transfer. A permissible transfer is defined as I can transfer it to an LLC or an entity that I have ownership in or that I'm a part of. That's a permissible transfer. And by putting and or assigns, that is the only place that you can transfer it to, not to a third party. To transfer the contract to a third party, you have to have a separate written agreement from the seller giving you permission to do that. Okay?
Now, is that language, isn't it? It's written in the, you don't have to write that anymore. It's part of the paragraph.
The permissible transfer.
Yeah, you don't.
Not
have
a
to-
non-permissible.
You don't have to write more signs in the contract.
No, yeah, that's correct. Okay, so I always thought you had to put and or signs, but well, actually it says right here, you guys, in which legal interest, including but not to farmers, okay, shall not be treated. Furthermore, the inclusion of and or assigns or similar language on the line identifying buyer on the first page of the rep sheet shall constitute seller's written consent only to a permissible transfer. I just told you what a permissible transfer was, okay? Okay, all right. Buyer's notice of cancellation. I told you the story about we canceled after a deadline. Don't ever cancel after a deadline. If you have questions, contact your broker and we'll help you to figure out how we can cancel it and save your earnest money, okay? No response. Had another agent that she was high on her horse because she said addendum 5 and 6 they never responded to. They never responded. And the timeframes had already passed. The acceptance deadline had passed. Don, they won't do it. You need to call the agent and tell him he has to send me a response. No, he doesn't. A non-signature or a non-response is a response, isn't it? Okay, and it even states right on here. To accept the terms of this addendum in accordance with the provisions of section 23 of the Rep sheet, unless so accepted, the offer is set forth in this addendum shall lapse. Okay, so that was, now, if you get kickback from Beverly because she says, no, you don't have a signature on this form, call your broker and we'll help you. You can either do an explanation or we can override that. And it's always good to put a note in there that they refuse to send a response. My other thing that I want to tell you about in relation to this, it's a common courtesy. If they don't want to do it, reject it. You know, that's why there's a rejection on there. So don't be one of those agents that says, oh, I did respond. We didn't respond. Because I want to know that it was even presented, don't I? So be courteous and put some kind of a response. Okay? Advertising.
So I'm not gonna go through this because we don't have enough time, but in advertising, just be very aware that make sure you're clearly and conspicuously putting the brokerage name in all advertising, okay? And there's a lot, these slides will be available to you, so go back through and look at them. But it's important that you watch advertising. The division's watching it very closely right now. Lots of fines being issued for advertising without identifying your brokerage. So just be aware of that. One thing that I will tell you, number 10 is super important. You cannot post pictures of other listings, like you go to a listing appointment or whatever and you show it. You can't, or a showing appointment, you show it. You can't take pictures and post that without permission. You've got to have permission of the owner and the broker, both. Okay, so if you're going to post that online, get permission, otherwise you're going to get fined.
Is there a form that we need or that we can use or we can
No, just get a text. Yeah, text is fine, or an email is better. So
Save it.
yeah, align showings. There's 2 new reports there. One is the listing activity report. One is the price point. Just be aware that that's available to you. The listing showing activity is nice. It shows you what showings have happened on your property, so you can easily see that, how many feedback and all that. That's available in Align Showings, so make sure you look at that. I was gonna just tell you on that one, my pet peeve is, guys, give feedback. If you show a house, be courteous enough just to take 2 minutes to give some feedback. On the price point analysis, this one's really good. I get agents all the time who say, hey, I'm showing I've got a listing and I've had no showings on my house in 2 weeks, right? Was that normal? Is that not normal? What's happening with it? That's where this report comes in. You can go in, put that in, it will show you on average in that zip code, how many showings per listing each one's getting. So if all of the other ones are getting 4 and you've had no showings, it's gonna tell you, right? My example is I've got a listing in Eureka. I'm like, well, it's been shown like once, but I don't know if that's good or bad. So I plugged it in. And there's been 3 showings out in Eureka on the 7 listings out there in the past 2 weeks. So I'm about where I need to be.
You got one of them.
Yeah, there you go. Reminder to pay your dues. We don't want to kick you out, so make sure and pay your dues. That's coming up due the end of this week, so make sure and pay that.
And the Northern Wasatch.
Yeah. Yep. Friday learning labs for Union Park we talked about, and then here's your upcoming classes. Churros are ready downstairs, unlimited. Go get as many as you want. Enjoy yourselves. Thanks for being here.